Hello everyone and welcome to TGP1 round season 34 for rounds 19 and 20. We're finally here, the season finale. We already know who the driver's champion is. It's the man currently leading the timesheets in Machine Ireland with a 1:42.6, which has just been beaten by Casper by a 42.4. So the defending champion, who's passing the torch on to Machine Ireland this season, takes provisional pole. We're currently watching Jovial Man as he's flying through the first and now the beginning of the second sector. We'll quickly run through the top 10 in the championship. So Machine Fishy has won the championship. He's on 320 points. He cannot be caught tonight. He's only fighting for the constructors. Roy in second place on 262 with Court Gill on 227. And third in the battle for fourth place, that is spicing up as New Zealand Cam goes purple as well. Another former champion, the last three champions all in the top three. Dom Smith in fourth, 143. It's Casper on 141 in fifth place. Just behind them, Kieran on 139. Phil Bardwell in seventh on 134. Arthur a wee bit behind on 122, but the race winner this season does have the opportunity to close in the top four. Johnson ninth and 114. He needs a massive week to close that gap to finish in fourth place. Then New Zealand Cam on 85 rounds out the top 10. Jovial Manny has just gone fourth place. I am joined by CJH once again in the commentary box. Warm welcome to yourself.
Yes, evening everyone. We are here for the final two rounds of the season, and what a great set of circuits. Spa and Brazil, we are in for a treat tonight, and hopefully a good end to this great championship that we have had once more in TGP. And it's going to be interesting, this qualifying session here at Spa. I mean, it's such a challenging circuit, but at the minute it is fairly tight. That top three, there is nothing between them. And like you're saying there, Jack, it's the kind of last opportunity for some drivers, and Enzio Cam at the minute is taking that opportunity at the moment.
Well, New Zealand Cam not being available this season like he would want to be, but it is the last three TGP1 champions in reverse order. Season 40 was Cam, season 42 was Casper, season 43 was Machine Ireland. It's all about the constructors though. It's the fourth place battle that we've mentioned earlier on, but it's all about the constructors as well. Red Bull, 401 points, that's Machine Ireland and Lewis Craig. They are 31 points clear of the Mercedes men, Court Gill, who we're on board with, and Dom Smith on 370. 31 points, it is doable for the Mercedes drivers, but they do need a big week. Lewis Craig in the last few weeks has been disappointing in terms of scoring points. A bit like Max and Checo they've been this season. Lewis needs to perform to make sure that Red Bull get across the line. But we're just under 5 minutes. They're probably Court, if he does go this time round, he is on an outlap. This is going to be his final run, isn't it, in the session. Fifth place, so he's pretty far ahead of Lewis in 8th and Dom Smith down in 14th. You imagine Dom will set a quicker lap than that. But CJ, I will let you run through this lap with Court Gill.
Well, here we go then. Just coming across the line now. Court needs to get it as wide as he can for this first corner, just to clip the apex, which he does beautifully, and has a little bit of a snap though on the exit. That is not ideal because he's got a long old run now up the hill onto the Camel Straight, and absolutely flat out here. It's just about how much you want to take that curb there, which he absolutely nails it. DRS now wide open. It's fairly straightforward from here. It's all straight all the way to Lecomte that is coming right up. It's all about how late do you want to brake here. Puts it to the left-hand side, switches it back across, and it's pretty nice so far. Now, in this middle sector, this is the key part of the lap. This is where the most corners are throughout the lap of Spa, and it's where you can really throw away the time. But going through corner with no name now, a lot easier. We're a bit re-profiled now. There's a bit more space to use that curve on the inside. And coming up to Pouon now, it's pretty much flat out, which it is. There's a slight, maybe a tiny lift. I couldn't quite hear it fully, but it is pretty much flat out now in this current generation of cars. There's not too much longer left of the lap, and we're coming out to the end of sector 2 here. You've got a few more corners to go, and it's fairly good in this middle sector. Like I say, this is the key part. You need to run that out wide there, and he is purple in that middle sector. 2 tenths up though at the minute, so he needs to find a bit more time. He's coming through Blanchimont now, and then he'll just have to think about the bus stop chicane, and once again, how late will he decide to brake? He's got to get it nice and wide, which is a bit of a common trend with this circuit, and then get it switched back across and hit that apex. Here we go then, through the bus stop. Seems fairly neat and tidy so far. Not too much slip on the exit. And DRS then wide open up to the line, and he goes third.
Well, a fantastic lap from Court to get him onto the second row of the grid. He did finish the lap with a lot in the ERS, maybe not deploying it as much as you would have thought, but he is now. That's going to be him. He's not going to get back round and refueled. Lewis Craig on an out lap. Is Darky further ahead? Nope. I think it's Casper next up. He's just ahead of Lewis. So we'll watch the man that's in second place at the moment, the only man now, other than Machine Ireland and Jovi Manti, you'd imagine could challenge NZL Camon for a provisional pole. And will the Ferrari, he was the defending champion coming into this season, not been the defence he was looking for. It's been a bit inconsistent, but he's picked up some wins here or there. We'll see. Can number 72, the Finnish driver, set a provisional pole lap just before the end of Spa qualifying. It's a very deep run. Going to try to get the best run off as we get going on his final run in the 19th race of the season. Can Casper stick it on provisional pole? It's a lot slower than Court through the first corner, but it looks pretty smooth. Doesn't have the moment, and the Ferrari driver now coming up the hill. It's going to be up to the Kemmel straight, like you said. Just thinking about the straight. Do not put yourself into the wall like Magnussen did back in 2016. NZL Cam has called it a day. That is going to be the quickest time he sets. So Casper doesn't have too much time to find to stick it on pole, and he's already a tenth and a bit down, and the Ferrari's got a lot of work to do in the second half of this lap, and he might have asked too much of himself here, as Wet Lemons has called it a day as well. He's running low on ERS. It's already down to less than 50%. Casper going to be struggling come the end of this lap to try and put himself onto first place, provisional pole. It's going to have to be a very quick middle sector, and it's just not looking as quick as Court was earlier on in the session. We'll see what his split two time is going to be though. Through the corners, has plenty of downforce on the car, and as I say that, he's clipped the curb and it's cost him time, and it looks like pole position is slipping away from one of the former TGB1 champions, and he's just not finding the time that he needs to put him on pole.
Yeah, it's just one too many mistakes there, and well, he's going to need a miracle. He's going to need an absolute miracle to find the time with the only couple of corners that are left. He's done well though to avoid that traffic up the road. I saw that coming out the pit lane actually. The amount of cars that came out of the pits at the same time, and he's not going to be trouble with that. And he's very deep there actually, so I think this might be in the bin. The checker flag is out, and Casper does not improve. Found about a 10th in the final sector, but it wouldn't be enough. Court is gone again, Jack, and he's actually purple in the first sector, I believe. He is up on his current lap.
Yep, Lewis Craig's just stuck it up into 7th place as Dom went in 8th. And I believe Darky's actually just qualified in 6th place. The man that hasn't scored a single point all season has left it till the final week of the season to show his true colours. And we'll see what Court's doing. He's not improving anymore as Court. This is going to be very tight. And the man that's gone again, maybe the second lap of the softs is going to give him the speed and the power he needs. He's got enough ERS to get him through. He's not using the overtake. You'd imagine he will stick it on eventually. He is still not using it. Is Court not leaving enough in the top? Maybe he wants to start in P3 to get that run on the Kemmel straight. That's kind of like Mexico. The best place to start is actually third, and it is only third place. Machine Ireland is in 4th. He's going to be the next man. He's a 10th up on his time. He's looking like the driver's champion that he is, and he's going to try and pick up pole here in the final few moments.
Yeah, and Joe Vermanti has invalidated. That was the next other top runner up the road, and his lap is in the bin, so it's all eyes on Shea here, your new champion. What can he do? Through the bus stop chicane now. Can he snatch pole here right at the death? It's just going to come up to the line, and let's just see. No, it's not enough. He lost time in the final sector, and he misses out.
I think it's only Jean now that can really challenge for pole, and I think he's just crossed the line, actually, Jean. So yeah, unless Dom's going again. Nope, that is the qualifying order. I thought Jean might have been able to go, but I think it might have been a different car further behind. Jean, very out of place in 13th. You'd imagine he'd be further up the order, the two-time champion, but we'll see what happens later on in the race. Kai down in 18th place. For someone that's battling for 4th place, not what the Kicksauber driver and team would be wanting, but it is New Zealand Cam on pole position. He'd set the time earlier on in the session, and he just manages to hang on. Casper was very, very close to picking it up, but wasn't quite able to do so. Court rounds out the top three, and Machine Ireland, the champion, rounds out the second row of the grid. Jovial Manny and Darky, a surprise third row of the grid. Congrats to the Alpine. We'll see if he can continue that sort of pace into the Grand Prix. It's 11 laps coming your way in the sunshine at Spa-Francorchamps, we've been told by the Red Bull garage. But yeah, Darky up in 6th place. Top 14 score points. Maybe we're going to see another driver enter the points in TGP1.
Well, as long as he keeps it nice and clean through that first corner, he'll have a fantastic run up the hill. So who knows? He might be able to gain even more positions. But your top three, separated by less than a tenth of a second, sets it up quite nicely, Jack, for quite a tasty battle for the win here in this race. I mean, we always see quite a good race at Spa. It's that kind of circuit. But with how close it is, it could be a classic here.
Indeed. Wet Lemons and Lewis Craig, 7th and 8th. It's Arthur and Dom Smith, 9th and 10th. Aidan and Phil Mickett and All McLaren, 6th row of the grid. John and Mr. Giapelli are 13th and 14th. Chris and Dan Morris are 15th and 16th, with Matt Tibbles and Speed Kai rounding out the runners that were able to take part. Professor had a qualifying ban, which is why he could not take part and why he's disqualified, and he will start 19th place. But it is the second to last race of the season. We've got 11 laps of Spa coming your way, and it's going to be the battle for the constructors, the battle for 4th place. We've got plenty of action coming your way in the next few moments, and do not take your eyes, because just because the Drivers' Championship is sealed doesn't mean this is not going to be entertaining. It's TGP1 for crying out loud. It's going to be NZL Cam versus Casper off the line. How many times have we said that, and how many times have we had entertaining battles post the start? We're going to be setting off in the next few moments, so get your final thoughts in the chat. If there's any drivers that are able to give us any info during the race, that would be wonderful as well. But it's going to be a fantastic race, and it's the last race on F124, the last two races, sorry, on F124. It's going to be very entertaining, and it's going to be saying goodbye to this game that I'm sure a few drivers will be very thankful for. They're not too keen on it in the chat that we've seen earlier on. But it's Red Bull, Mercedes, they're battling for the championship in the constructors, and then we've got 4, possibly 5, fighting for 4th place. It's going to be action-packed, and I'm hoping that we're going to get onto the grid shortly, and we are. We have 3, 4, and it's 5 likes in Belgium. And away we go, and Lewis Craig has jumped to start, so it's a disaster for the Red Bull, but someone it's not a disaster for is New Zealand Cam. He's had a wonderful start and fends off as Courtgill down the inside of the Ferrari of Casper, and Jovial Manny down the inside the Red Bull, but the Red Bull's managed to fight his way back, and it looks like Machine Ireland just hanged on to 4th place for now after starting on the mediums. It's New Zealand Cam leads the way from Court, and Casper's going to try and make the move on him to retake P2. No DRS, only overtake available. He's not going to use it, and it looks like we're following each other through pretty well, and no damage incurred. It looks like Lewis and Darky have got drive-through penalties though, and it looks like Jean is falling down the order, maybe having a runoff coming up the hill. But it looks like, other than that, everyone's clean through as Darky down the inside of Lewis Craig on the soft compound, trying to force the Red Bull wide. The Red Bull is going to be on the inside for the turn, and they've made contact, and Lewis is off the track. And the two guys with drive-through penalties making a wee bit of contact, and that's dropped Lewis down the order. Not what Red Bull need in terms of the constructors on the mediums as well. Lewis is going to have to try find the confidence again as Dan Morris down the inside of him as well. Lewis falling like a fly. He needs to get back into concentration mode and try find his way up the grid. Phil's dropped down to 17th as well.
Yeah, absolute disaster of a start for Lewis Craig, and I mean, you have to count him out of the picture. And Arthur, very aggressive move on Kai right down the order, but to the front we got Shea actually getting very close to Casper here. Casper had a little bit of a think of a move on Court, but again wasn't quite close enough. But NZL Cam, good start here. He's already got that gap up to 1.2 seconds almost now, and has already broke the DRS. You just need to keep that going for one more lap, and he'll be well and truly on his way here.
A fantastic start from Cam. If he can keep hanging on, he's got the soft compounded tyre as well, so he needs to use that advantage while he has it. And now, Machine Ireland now, can he get the run on Casper that he's looking for? The DRS going to assist the Ferrari ahead. The two guys in the top four on the mediums need to try and stretch this tyre life. It's 15 laps, so this is the 35% race, so opportunities of safety cars. And Casper's getting very close to the back of the Mercedes, and down the inside he goes and up into P2. Court Gill had absolutely zero to defend with, and I think Dan Morris has dropped behind Aiden and Bavessa on that lap.
I tell you, he sensed there that he had the opportunity because Court didn't get the DRS off Cam. He knew that was his chance if he wanted to get ahead of Court and get after Enzo Cam as well, more importantly, because with Court not getting that DRS, it just makes it a hell of a lot easier to make the move. So good work from Casper there, up into second place as an almighty squabble for 8th between Dom Smith, Pavesi and Darky. But as we expected here, Jack, there's already plenty of scraps left, right and centre.
Well, the drivers are trying to shuffle the order. I think the qualifying session was a bit out of sync in comparison to the last 18 races. Maybe a few guys not qualifying as well, or the others qualifying really good. But it's just kind of put some drivers out of sync, kind of like Jean and Dom Smith. And it's mucked up the order a wee bit, but as someone in the top two has broken the marker board there, polystyrene flying everywhere, shouldn't be too much of an issue though. But the top four, other than Cam, that's kind of sailed off as they've just got him back into his DRS. Cam looks okay for the moment. It's 1.5 and Wet Lemons is round in the background of your picture as Casper sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix.
There's another one.
But we have two kind of packs forming, don't we? As a lot of guys pitting early.
Yeah, there was Phil spun the exact same spin as Wet Lemons there. So I'm not too sure what on earth was going on. But look at this battle here for second place. Court then. It's going to come straight back at Casper here. Casper unable to capitalise on making that overtake. And look at Shea there. Absolutely, he's going to get the pair of them here. Down the Camel straight from absolutely nowhere. Was riding on board with Court, and the Red Bull man came from absolutely nowhere and has picked them both off there, Jack.
I tell you what, Jovial Mani is closing in on this battle as well, and Machine Ireland now 1.1 behind, and we have a safety car, DNF from Darky, P7 in qualifying. It was a great qualifying for him, and it looks like he's lost there on the exit of the pit lane. So, disaster for Darky. He's going to have to get back into concentration mode for 18 laps of the Brazilian Grand Prix later on tonight. And we'll get the tyres up because who is going to come into the pits? A few guys have stopped already, and we'll actually get the stops up, not the tyres, because I think some people are going to be in some good form. Jean has stopped but has a time penalty. I think that's 10 seconds. So maybe Jean will come into the pits as trying to get rid of that penalty. That would make sense for Jean, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm afraid to say I think Darky there retired on circuit, so I'm not too sure that one will go down well, because I think he may have had the damage coming out the pit lane, but then I saw his Alpine car moving after he had retired, so it's not good to see that. But this is going to change the race quite a bit here, because you'd imagine everybody will surely dive in the pits, but those that are on the mediums, though, they might actually have to stay out here, Jack, because I think they won't be able to get softs all the way to the finish.
Yeah, New Zealand Cam is in. Machine Ireland is in as well. Yeah, it's probably worth going on the hards now if you are on the mediums. We will ride on board with Casper. Well, for his pit stop, we'll see what the Ferrari team do, and it's probably not wise to watch Ferrari, and they're putting the softs on that car. So that's a typical Ferrari strategy. We'll see what Machine Ireland chose. He went for the hards. So we'll see how that Ferrari strategy plays out in the next few laps.
Yeah, that is absolute. I'm telling you right now, them softs, that is not going to last to the flag without a puncture or something. I mean, who knows? I'll happily eat my words, but those soft tyres will be absolutely, in big trouble come the end. So Kai stayed out and now will lead. He does have already a 3-second time penalty, but he's the only driver then to not pit. But obviously the problem with that is he is going to have to do his mandatory stop later on, but I guess in some sense if there's another safety car that it could work out, but a bold strategy from the Sauberman, but I'm not too sure it's going to work.
He was last place, wasn't he? Maybe just trying to do something different and give himself an opportunity. He doesn't feel like his pace will get him to the front after starting 19th, so let's be honest, he could score solid points with his pace. We know how quick he is. but then maybe just trying to do something different, and it's the last
Bit of
week.
cleaner.
Yeah, a bit of cleaner. Last week of the season, maybe try a risk, and he's not going to lose the championship over it. And Kieran doesn't strike me as someone that wants to finish fourth in the standings. He probably won't care about that.
I'm sure Ansel Khan will appreciate having that Sauber right in front of him at the restart. It's going to be interesting how he plays that one, because with obviously the pack now put back together, he did lose now his slim lead that he had built up. It was slim, but he had broke the DRS to the others. But obviously now he's going to get ahead of Kai here straight at this restart, because if he gets stuck behind Kai, it will just give this extra opportunity for the likes of Shea, and who knows, if Casper can somehow, by some miracle, get them softs to the end, he will be one to watch, especially at this restart, because he is on the softest tyre of everybody at the minute.
Well, if you're calm, you're probably thankful, aren't you? Because he's now not, well, he is vulnerable off the start, but he's not the most vulnerable man on the restart. You're probably is going to be Kai that is in the most danger of losing places. And Casper on the restart is going to be very quick, and depending how long this safety car stays out for, I think we might get another lap of this safety car. It's going to be 10, 11 laps for Casper. He has been okay on tyre wear in the past. Very, very good. It's going to be difficult. So he's going to have to kind of not be too aggressive in the early laps and just trying to manage those as best as he possibly can while trying to use the advantage that he will have on those tyres. But yeah, he doesn't want to burst them too quickly and then have to be defending later on as much as he needs the grip in the tyre. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be a difficult one, but if someone can't do it, it will be Casper. And the longer the safety car stays out, which is going to probably come in at the end of this lap, it'll be lap 6, 10 laps of racing. It is possible to get them in the end, but they will be crying and wanting off him on lap 15.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I know why safety car didn't come in, to be honest, at that point. There was only one car that was pretty much behind the pack, but yes, it is another lap under the safety car, which obviously we don't have many laps here at Spa because of how long the circuit is. So it does just bring us that little bit closer to the finish, and Casper will be pleased with that, actually, that he's got less laps to try and survive on those soft tyres. But yeah, let's see then. Lewis Craig definitely has been saved a bit with this, because he's got that drive-through out the way now and has caught the back of the pack. He's going to have to get a lot of overtaking done in these remaining laps of the race. But in terms of well and truly being out of it before, he is kind of back in a bit of the mix now. But like I say, he is down in 17th at the minute. Who else are we saying? Maybe Arthur potentially a bit out of position, Wet Lemons as well. So there's plenty to keep an eye on this one in terms of quite a few drivers that have given a second chance in this race.
Yeah, Lewis Craig, Phil obviously having a spin as well, getting their opportunity. There's some overtaking happening. I think there's a bit of out of sync between the drivers with Chris and Dan. I'm sure we'll get that sorted out before we get going again. But yeah, Aidan Griffin's up into 8th, good for him. Dom in 9th. Mercedes scoring good points. It's not going to be enough in comparison to Machine Island's 15. But I think they're both going to be scoring 15. But you'd imagine Lewis should get minimal points at worst in this Grand Prix if he finishes. You'd expect him to get past Matt Tibos and Luca and Chris if those guys don't themselves move up the order. But the safety car is coming in, so Kai basically becomes the new safety car until we get to the safety car line. Then he can go whenever he wants, but there will be no overtaking until we cross the start-finish line, and Kai is going to be very vulnerable by the time we get up Radion and Rouge and onto the Camel Straight. But we'll see if he can defend or not. Kai going to be happy that there's a Kai car ahead of him. The chance to overtake Machine Ireland, defend the reigning champion now. He is champion-elect. He's going to have a good restart as well on those hards. He wants to get them up to temperature. But the man to watch out for is that Ferrari on the soft compound. He's going to have to make the moves ASAP if he wants to hang on. Kai leaving it till the very last second. He's going to do it as soon as he gets to the line, you'd imagine, which might cause a bit of conundrum in the back. But he's not going to care about anyone further back. He is away. And we're back under green flag conditions. And it's a big walk up from the side, and he's gone very deep. And I think there's an accident for further back, but NZL Cam is looking to try and make a move for the lead of the Grand Prix, so we'll talk about that in a moment. I think Machine Ireland's dropped down the order, and it looks like Kai has survived that scare for now, and he's had another scare as Cam down the inside. He was almost taken out of the Grand Prix, there was Cam, but he's back into first place, and Casper's ahead of Court, and I think it was Machine Ireland's had a moment because he's behind Chauviamani, and now Professor's overtaking him. A dreadful start for the champion-elect.
Yeah, I think he got punted from behind by Casper into the first corner. It's either that or it was a rear brake lock or something like that, because the car absolutely pirouetted around. But I think Casper might have made the contact, and he's making the move now on Kai there. That part of the lap, you don't see that often, making those soft tyres work there. And that's a key move because Cam already has got a 1.2 second lead here.
Yeah, he needs to use those softs to close that gap, and there already seems to be the gap building between the top two. So it's Cam from Casper from Court, then Kai still to box, has got Roy behind, and Roy going to try and make that move on him, because Bavesser is not someone that is going to wait around, and if he's close he's going to try everything he can to make that move. Machine Ireland though seems to be okay again, and in the confidence he's going to try and make the move on the hards. We're on board with the Red Bull driver now on the hards, not quite got the straight line speed to make the move, and Aiden's hanging on nicely to these guys in the top 8.
Absolutely. Shea here getting very, very close. Does he choose the inside or the outside? He's going to the inside then on Bavesser. Gets late on the brakes. Bavesser himself is even later and actually clips Roy there and makes contact with the Red Bull. And there's a broken front wing on Bavesser as well. But Roy has got a good exit though and should take Kai into this first corner. No, thinks better of it. He's probably going to take the DRS off the Sauber. But Bavesser in the walls there, and now he's dropped down into 8th place.
Yeah, they got him on the exit, the final corner, because of how slow he went. I think that was a bit naughty from Machine Ireland. He turned in a wee bit on him, but then we'll leave that one up to the stewards. And then for the leader of the Grand Prix, Casper absolutely sails past. I mean, got every moment of that on the chopper cam. Wonderful from Casper to take the lead, and now he needs to nurse those softs as much as he can. Keep that gap to Court at 1.1 if you can, and just leave it between the top two. Change positions here and there, but Cam is not going to be wanting to help Casper out at all if he can get back past quick. And then this is the phase in the Grand Prix where Cam doesn't need to worry too much about being behind Casper. It's later on where he needs to be ahead, isn't it?
Absolutely, but I'll tell you, Jack, how easy was that? I mean, the Ferrari there with the DRS, it was just easy pickings, really, just breezing past Ezio Cam. And the thing is, with Court now getting brought back into play here, it looks very much a freeway scrap for the win here. But, I mean, who knows? If Casper can just stay with them here, he might have to just struggle away with a bit of tyre wear. But at the minute, he's doing a great job. Obviously, still on those fresh, soft tyres. And, well, who knows? If he at the minute he's leading, I don't think he's going to be able to break that DRS, unfortunately for him. But whilst he's up there, then you can't complain if you're leading the race.
Well, nurse the tyres as best you can, Casper, to the end of the Grand Prix, because Cam is coming. It's Machine Ireland now around the outside of the Sauber, who's gone a bit late, and that's cost him a massive moment, and everyone's going to funnel past him now, and everyone between 5th and about 10th place is so close together. Aiden and Arthur are battling away down the inside. Goes Arthur, and he's absolutely clobbered the Red Bull of Machine Ireland. Arthur, a bit risky there, and he's taking a while, but here comes Cam now for the lead. DRS going to be enabled. He's not on the battery, as the battery is very depleted for both guys, and it looks like Casper seems to be running a bit less downforce. Absolutely.
I mean, as Shea does make the move on Alpha Pine, look at the state of this. There's so many cars that are side by side here. How on earth none of them made contact there through Lecomte? I'm not quite sure. But Alpha then gets back ahead of Aiden, who is actually coming back down the inside on the Haas driver. He's now got Dom Smith trying to hang it around the outside of him. So absolutely brilliant racing there in the midfield. But I do believe I've seen NZL Cam set up for this circuit, and it is pretty high wings. I think Alpha's had a moment there. He's chopped right down the order. Yes, he is now in last place. But yes, I believe Enzio Cam does run very high wings. As you can see here in the middle sector, he is all over the tail of Casper. And I think that was evident there, Jack, down that Kemmel straight. I mean, he had the DRS and he wasn't even gaining on the Ferrari.
Yeah, he's struggling on the straights, but he was so quick through that second sector. And I tell you what, Court is well and truly in this battle now as well for the victory. And it's not looking good for the Red Bulls because Lewis is not scoring points, and they're currently third and seventh place on the Mercedes with Machinard in fifth. Can Casper hang on to the lead though, as we're watching on board with the Aston of NCL Cam, who's got to be watching his mirrors as well because Court is coming. And I tell you what though, that battle between Aiden and Arthur, 2021 Aiden, Arthur would have been in the gravel. Aiden wouldn't have given him space. Aiden's age and wisdom coming through there to leave a bit more room, and that allowed Arthur to only survive a couple more corners before he bombed it into the wall. But here comes NGL Cam now. He's going to have a lot more battery compared to the Ferrari. He's been saving it. He must have been running none on the ERS deployment through that middle sector because he's got a full battery again after only having 22%. But still, just with DRS and no battery, and Casper with no DRS and no battery, he wasn't closing the gap. That downforce on the Aston, very similar to real life. The drag just holding him back at the moment. And then if Casper will be loving this if he can hang on to those tyres and get the traction like he has. The traction will fade, but how much is it going to fade is the question. It's one thing to be close, it's another to overtake. And really, if he's going to make the move, it's going to be in this part of the track, isn't it?
Well, he might just have a think about it here. He might just have a think about going to the inside. No, gets out the throttle because Casper placed the car beautifully there just to cut off any opportunity. I tell you who's also charged the battery up. Caught right behind NCO Cam here. He has 100% almost on that battery. So he will be ready to pick up the pieces if there's an opportunity here. But NCO Cam, you're right, Jack. I think he has to either just get down there on the brakes at the end of the Camel Straight, or he's got to do it in that middle sector because that car does not have the straight line speed. And there is Court once again getting ever more closer through Blanchimont.
Well, he saved up the battery of the Aston and the Mercedes driver. Casper's had a wee bit of a moment through the bus stop chicane. He went a bit deep. We'll see if that affects his run to the turn number one. It's not bothered him too much, and maybe NGL Cam just thinking, I don't need to kill my tyres battling Casper, whose tyres are going to run out anyway. He's had a bit of a moment off the first corner, and he might be in danger here. He looks okay, 5/10. If he uses that battery, you imagine he would sail past Casper because he's so much more battery. You'd imagine it would be pretty slam dunk. I think this might just be a biding his time kind of moment, which we've seen a few of the guys in second place do over these races in the last two seasons on this game, haven't we? We've seen guys wait until the final moments, and it always seems to be Casper that's leading when that happens, and it always seems to be Casper that loses out.
I tell you though, he's doing a good job, Casper, of just recharging that battery a little bit of a lock up on the front right there, gets a little bit wide, but he'll get away with it. But that battery's already now, that's almost 70%. Oh, gets on the gravel. Little mistake there from Casper. Again, he'll get away with it. And Enzo Cam wasn't quite close enough to pick up the pieces. Again, he's going to get very close coming out of Pouon. But yeah, Casper, he's getting the battery up now. He is starting to recharge that battery. He's finding parts of the circuit where he can start to get a bit more ERS in his car. And with the straight line speed that he's got, he's going to be a pretty hard car to pass if he's got a full battery and the low downforce that he's running as well.
Well, the Ferrari crew are obviously listening to us and giving Casper some words of advice to save the battery pack, and that's what he's done. It's done a good job. He's going to be able to defend a bit more, give him a bit more options in the race. But we'll see how long can those tyres go, because when he crosses the line, it's 5 laps until the finish. He's done about 5 racing laps on those tyres now. They should make it to the end. It's just kind of a question is, how quick are they going to be at the end? And the top 3, second and third of the top 3 should have a massive tyre delta come the end of this session. And well, the top 3 now all have practically a full battery, other than Casper that's used a wee bit there to get a good run. And he should be okay here again, Casper. I think he's going to be alright. And here comes Court. He's using the battery now. He's using his deployment, and that is allowed NCL Cam to use a bit of his, and it's as you were for the top 3 at the moment. And I think NCL Cam stepped on the overtake a bit there because he's seen the Mercedes flying through.
Yeah, I think he saw his mirrors full suddenly, and he was like, right, I need to use some of this, because that got a little bit close there. That Mercedes very quickly caught right up to the Aston Martin, but like you say, Jack, we are as we were, and they're still in the same position. And the laps are just taken away here. I mean, Casper, fair play to him. He's doing a great job here, considering he is that lead car, and obviously Cam is playing this a bit tactically here in terms of not getting that move done straight away. But I thought the soft tyres by now would be really on the ropes, but at the minute, he looks okay.
He seems to be doing that George Russell to Lewis Hamilton strategy, and I just seen Phil make a wonderful move on Dan Morris to get him into 8th place, and here comes Enzo Cam now. It's less than 2 tenths. Aiden's had an accident, and that's disappointing for Aiden. I think he's gotten going again, though, in 9th place. Might get passed by Luca, but Aiden was having a fantastic race, and that just compounds Lewis's pain even more as Dom jumps up another place, and Casper looking okay off the traction zone still on the start-finish straight. We'll see coming up to the Kemmel Straight if it's still working out for him. He's saving a wee bit of hers on the exit of the corners, and Cam, who has the full battery, should be able to fly past us. Phil is now past Dom. Interesting to see. We'll talk about Phil more in a moment, but here comes Cam now. The TRS and the ERS being used, and he absolutely flies past, and here comes Court now. It might be 2 into 1 for Court. He's definitely past Casper. Is he going to be past? He's very late on the brakes, and he just manages to avoid the Aston's front rear right. And Court now up into P2, and now it is Mercedes v Aston. Mercedes power for the lead of the race, for the win. Can Casper use those tyres, if there's anything left on them, to be involved in this race a bit more? He's managed to save up a bit more of the battery. Maybe Casper knew that was coming. Lewis has picked up a time penalty down in 14th, but Phil kind of having the opposite effect of Lewis. Lewis has kind of not moved up places, but Phil up into 6th after being 14th on the restart. He's had a wonderful second phase of this Grand Prix.
Absolutely, he is flying at the minute, and well, unfortunately for him, there's a bit of a gap to the next car up the road, but what a great job he is doing. Same too for Dan Morris, also up there, gaining 8 positions in this race so far. But I thought there Jack Court was, I thought he was going to collect Enzo Cam with him through Lacombe there, and that was getting a little bit too close for comfort. But at the minute now, the roles have reversed. It's now Court now fighting for the win here. Enzo Cam is that lead car that will not have the DRS, and Casper is still just about in the DRS of these two, although you'd probably say he's the least likely to do anything in these closing stages. But there's not long to go, and Court, well, is he going to go for the move here? That is the big question.
Yes, indeed. Casper, though, in the dirty air now through the second sector might cause those softs to wear out more. Maybe having the fresh air and the cleaner ahead was allowing those softs to perform at the standard they were. And here comes Court Gill now. There's no battery. It's just DRS, and that Mercedes is very quick in a straight line, but not quick enough. And the Red Bull of Machine Learned is now ahead of his championship rival this season. The two Irishmen battling for 4th and 5th. And Roy kind of just had not a poor second half of the season, but he's just not been able to win the races like he was in season 42.
Yeah, he's just kind of lost that momentum a little bit, which is understandable. I mean, he was so consistent and so easy, kind of always there at the end of races. Matt Tibbles has crashed out. But yes, it was so easy for Roy just to be there at the right place at the right time. But at the minute, yes, this is another podium that has well and truly slipped away, and he's just going to need to bring this home surely now for 5th place.
Well, he'll keep fighting Machine Island for 4th until the final lap is complete, but he's going to be, I think, a bit disappointed not to be a bit closer in the standings. But has there been an accident? Is Court ahead now? And it looks like Court is ahead.
Yeah, there's a strange moment there. Oh, a little bit of contact almost going through Blanchimon. Enzo Cam just giving up the DRS. A bit of tactical games here going on to this penultimate lap here. Enzo Cam did not want to be the lead car, and he let Court past 100% there. And we've seen this before, Jack, many a time in TGP. But will that... I don't know. I mean, is that going to be the right decision to make here? Because he might just sit behind him and then try and set up for the last lap. But we've seen before that doesn't always work.
Not something that often happens in TGP1. It's not something the old men seem to really like happening. And someone of Court's stature and longevity in the division is not going to take that too comfortably, and this might actually have been a bad idea, because here comes Casper, and he's a lot closer to the top two than he was on the previous lap. And well, be careful what you wish for, Cam, because this might backfire, and if Court wins, he will definitely be shoving it in your face in the group chat later on. And the Flying Dutchman, a wee bit wide was Court there, but he seems to be pulling away Court at the moment, but we know the downforce on that Aston is very good in the middle sector. We'll see if it will provide him the grip, and he's falling away, Cam, here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say again, what a drive this is from Casper. He is still there. He is still there, well and truly in DRS range. And I tell you, if he can have a good enough go, he's charged up plenty of his battery now as well. He might still be in the mix on this final lap going up the Kemmel Straight. Do not rule him out. This is going to be a freeway tussle here for the win.
So, Court on 90. It's Cam on 78 and Casper on 78. It's kind of all to play for. The only man that doesn't have the DRS when we begin lap 15 will be Court Gill. The gap 2 times. The gap between second and third 3 times. This is going to be a fantastic finish between the top 3, and it's Court from Cam from Casper. Will that be the same order when we cross the line on the final tour of the Belgium Grand Prix? I'm not quite sure, but we're on board with the Aston now. We'll see what he can do. He's not had the good exit compared to Court, but he is closing the gap now. He's using all that battery, and Court will use everything he's got to defend, but it looks like it won't be enough for Court. It should be a slam dunk move for Cam, and that tactic that he used is going to put him back up into the lead of the race in the final lap. And here comes Casper, going to try, but no, we're on board with the Ferrari and they're touch tight, and the Mercedes has managed to hang on. It looks like Court's done it. He's managed to hang on to P1, and he did it fairly and didn't push him off the track, because I was on board with Cam, and Cam had plenty of room. He was on the curb, but did have 2 wheels between the white lines. Court's done that fairly, and well, there's only one opportunity now into the bus stop chicane, and that move to give Court first place may have backfired for the Aston.
That was really interesting how Court played that there, because he didn't use the overtake till right at the very end, just to edge in front of the Aston Martin, and just kept himself in place. So brilliant driving from Court there. A bit unexpected that worked, but it has so far, and it's going to come right down to the bus stop chicane here, Jack. I'm not too sure who's going to win this one.
Court has got a full battery and he's using the overtake now compared to Cam. Cam has only got the straight line speed and he's been struggling all race with that, but this is it, his final opportunity. He needs to make the move now, and Court's pulling away and it's slipping away from Cam. The dirty tactics, well, maybe not dirty tactics, but the kind of dark arts have not paid off, because Court Gill is going to win the Belgium Grand Prix. Is New Zealand Cam coming home in second with Casper on the podium. He hanged on to those softs fantastically well. It wasn't a win for the Scuderia, but it was a fantastic drive to hang on to P3. Machine Arlen comes home in 4th with Roy in 5th place. Phil had a fantastic second half of that race to come home in 6th. Luca Giapelli in 7th. Congratulations to him. That is a fantastic finish for the other Ferrari, with Dan Morris in P8. Aidan Griffins, even with his wee moment, could have been higher up the grid, probably would have been on for 6th place there, Aidan, but he's dropped down to 9th. Dom Smith in 10th place with Wet Lemons, and Jean in 11th and 12th. The Williams doing not too great at that track, and it was Chris Johnson in 13th, and Lewis Craig rounded out the points. And I'm going to try do some mathematics quickly, but if you let us know your thoughts there, especially Casper hung on to those tyres fantastically, didn't he, as the podiums are underway?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'd almost give him driver of the day, which sounds a bit crazy, but to make it to the end on those softs, I don't think people realise how difficult that actually is. I mean, they would have been absolutely on a knife edge on those last few laps, but he stuck with those leaders. He didn't get the win, and Court, you have to say, really masterfully played that at the end. And how many times, I mean, we said it there, but how many times have we seen this where people give up the DRS or try and get the DRS for the final few laps, and it doesn't really work. If you get a good enough exit, you're able to get clear of that car behind, like you were saying, like George Russell did in real life at this very circuit, and that is what Court did. He won the race and takes another victory home with him.
Well, congratulations to the Dutchman. He went for, was it 10 years without a race win? And now seems to win every second or third week. Corbin very impressive tonight, and hopefully that form can continue, especially for the Mercedes pit crew. They are first and 10th, with the Red Bulls 4th and 14th. If my maths is correct, going into the final race, we are separated by 14 points in terms of the constructors. It is going to go down to the wire, and these two teams in real Formula One seem to have that spicy rivalry. Is it going to get interesting at the Brazilian Grand Prix? One shot qualifying, you can't afford to make the mistake. And 18 laps to come. The battle for fourth, it looks like Casper has cemented his place. He was 2 points behind Dom Smith. Dom only picking up 4 points there, and Casper picking up 15. Dom's going to need a fantastic result with Casper really scoring minimal points to finish in fourth now. Dom seems to get better every season, and well, if he can finish in the top five after finishing seventh last season, he'd be very delighted with that. He breached 100 points, which I think was the first time in like 7 games in TGB1. He's going to breach 150 if he can get 5 points in this race.
Absolutely. This is it. This is it then, the final race of the season, and that last chance for certain drivers to just cap off their season in the right way. I think we hope to see a good race in store here, but we also want to see everyone just make the finish here, because it has been a long old season, and it's the best way for everyone's season to end is that they all make it. But like you said, one-shot quali, we're going to get a bit of an unpredictable grid, because this is the kind of circuit that a one-shot quali is pretty lethal on, because there's so many parts that you can invalidate your laps, such as the Senna S's, and a lot of corners in the middle sector where if you just run over that white line, that is it. It's game over. So let's hope for the drivers that nobody has that happen in the final quali of the season. But it's going to really dictate, I would say, the look of this race, although you can overtake quite well at Brazil. But it's absolutely critical that you do not invalidate that lap in this one-shot quali, because you've got all the work ahead of you.
Well, you don't want to be starting further down the grid. We've seen what happened in Belgium. We had the likes of Darky up there in P6, and a few others. Wet Lemons had a good qualifying, and Dal Morris has good qualifying. But you see what happens when the grid is kind of out of sync, out such. It does make it interesting. We got the safety car early on after some incidents, and well, the likes of Kai being down in 19th at Belgium, you kind of want to avoid that. You don't want to get stuck in the midfield battle. The midfield battle in TGP1 is very quick and very good. It's not like the gap between the top and winning races in the podium and the midfield is a big gap, but the level of driving and pride between the guys in the midfield battle, it's not easy to get those moves done, and guys do struggle to get through, unless they're named the soft cop. But they do struggle to get through those gaps, and we've seen it happen to the man that won the last race. He qualified 9th a couple of races, and he couldn't get through the pack, and then he qualifies 3rd and picks up the win. So you don't want to get stuck in that midfield battle, and these guys in this last race of the season, they've got nothing to lose, do they now? It's only the guys up the front that have things to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. The gloves are off, if you like, because they don't need to worry about keeping it nice and neat and tidy and safe for the final race in terms of the championship position, because some drivers, they've got nothing to really play for. So in some ways they can just go at this as a bit of a one-off race and try and do the best they can. Interestingly enough, the winner of this race last season was actually Kai. So let's just see. I mean, after his performance in Belgium, he's got a lot of work ahead of him to do to recover some of his pace that he's shown before. But he did win here last season, so let's see if he can rediscover himself a little bit in this upcoming race.
Well, Kai has already had the excuses in the group chat on why he's struggling tonight. Whether we believe it or not is another thing, but we'll not diss the other commentator of the TGP series too much, otherwise he won't be doing it. But it's one-shot qualifying at the Brazilian Grand Prix coming your way in a few moments. And I am thinking who we are going to watch. And I think for the last race we'll watch someone that's not really been up there too much, but we'll put a bit of pressure on him. He's picked up 53 podiums in TGP1 over the past, and I think he has 5 race wins. We're going to watch the Papaya, the Scotsman Aidan Griffins, on this final race of the season in his qualifying lap,
Ooh.
and it is raining. Maybe Aidan's not going to be too happy now that I'm watching. Intermediate conditions for qualifying coming your way. Whether or not that's going to be like that for the race is another thing. And well, in the past we've had some interesting Brazilian races in the wet conditions, and this would be the way to top off TGP1 for the future if it was wet conditions around Brazil. Kind of pretty iconic, actually, if this is it.
Absolutely. I mean, you couldn't write it, could you? It's the perfect kind of Brazil and Interlagos conditions. I mean, this is gonna, if it wasn't tricky enough already, it's gonna make it extra difficult now. And let's hope we get a bit of a mix-up grid here.
Well, we will see. I am going to try find the Papaya of Aidan Griffins as fast as I possibly can for you gentlemen to see everything in the stream. We're on board with Aidan Griffins. He's on the soft composite tyre. Maybe taking a risk is the McLaren, but he's up the order in P6 through the Senna S's now. No DRS, I'd imagine, is enabled. It is enabled. So we are in enough dry conditions. Aidan, down the hill to turn number 4. Early on the brakes, swings the car left. Do not use that curb on the right in the wet, otherwise you're going to be sent off. And Aidan does that beautifully, using a bit of the battery up the hill now through the swooping, kind of not double right-hander. It's just such a long turn. You've just got to be very easy on the throttle in these types of conditions. Down into second gear, get the rotation in the car, keep it in to third, get the rotation on this one again. Very, very calm on the throttle now. Use a bit more speed, very hard on the brakes for the right-hander. Use all the steering lock you possibly can, and now trying to be flat out if you can in the wet. It's going to be very tricky through the double lefts now, and he's only got a few moments to go on this lap now. It's now all action. If he can get the car stable and planted, use the battery, use the DRS when it allows you to, and use every single bit of track that the game will allow you to. It's looking like a top 8 for Aidan, and it is 7th place, and I believe it was NZL Cam on pole.
And by quite some distance. It was not even close. Enzio Camp absolutely wiped the floor with that one. And there you have it, 0.7 of a second. What a gap that is.
So, it was slick conditions, even though there was a wee bit of rain. It is Cam on pole, with Giovanni joining him on the second place. Casper and Phil on the second row of the grid. Lewis Craig with an impressive 5th, with Luca Giapelli in 6th. Fantastic from Luca. Aidan Griffins and Matt Tibbles on the 4th row of the grid, with the race winner last time out in 9th, Court Gill, and Speed Kai in 10th. Dom Smith and Chris Johnson 11th and 12th. Wet Lemons and Dan Morris 13th and 14th. Machine Island and Darky 15th and 16th, with Arthur and Jean 17th and 18th, and Bavesser disqualified. So the Red Bulls have kind of swapped places this time. Machine Island is all the way down the order, and I think Red Bull would maybe prefer that. Machine Island may be able to make his way up the order, and we have heard on the team radio from Alpine that it could be changing to wet conditions later on in the race.
Well, that's what we want to see. We want to see a bit of drama in this final race of the season, a little bit of action, and maybe the weather could provide it. But it's a dry start, which is probably a good thing to see, because it means we're going to get plenty of racing at the beginning of this race. And the question is, will Enzio Camp be able to convert this into a victory this time around? He potentially made the mistake at Spa tactically towards the end of that one. Will he make the same thing this time around, or will he learn from his mistake and win this final race of the season? I'm very much looking forward to this chat. This should be a really good race.
Well, it's been called the last dance for a reason. We're going to see what happens in a few moments as the guys are getting their strategies in order before we get racing in Interlagos in Brazil. We've seen plenty of action over the years in Formula One. Lewis went from 20th to 1st to pick up the win. Can Machine Ireland do that? But we've got 5 lights on the grid, and Roy's had a wonderful start off the line, and I think he's jumped Cam into turn 1. He's not quite going to be close enough. He he did have a fantastic get-off, but the second phase from Cam was wonderful. Casper's managed to fend off Phil, and Lewis Craig has dropped behind Luca Giapelli and Aidan Griffins here, and maybe Matt Tibbles, the Red Bull, has had a very muffled start, and Aidan Griffins now, can he make a move on Matt Tibbles? Nope, not quite. Sorry, Matt Tibbles and Lewis Craig, they're side by side. He's forced Lewis Craig off the circuit, and Court Gill's going to get down the inside of him as well. Not the start the Rebel would have wanted. Machine Arms picked up places in the background. Down the inside of Chris he goes. Has to take avoiding action as Chris had the racing line. Machine Ireland down the inside, though, not giving Chris the racing line on that corner. And he picks up P11. And Lewis down into ninth. Not the start the Red Bull was looking for.
Yeah, Court and Machine Island, they're going to be absolutely chopping through the field. And there's a late lunge from Wet Lemons on Chris Johnson. A lot of contact there right behind the Red Bull. But yes, let's see now going up the hill. NCL Cam obviously clear at the top, but it's all getting pretty close behind. No DRS just yet. We've got a yellow flag. There's a little tangle at the very, very back. But let's just see who is going to make this move into the first one. They're all keeping it nice and tidy at the minute. You can see Lewis Craig had a little look there at Court, but wasn't quite close enough to make any sort of move. But at the front, though, Giovanni, he is coming at NCL Cam here. Will he be close enough? He's gaining and gaining on the Aston Martin, but we'll think better of it just for the minute.
Well, Giovanni's very close indeed, and with the DRS coming his way soon, it's looking like he might be in a great opportunity to make the move. And it looks like Dom is battling Machine Ireland, and Machine Ireland has passed him. And it's Mercedes, Red Bull, Mercedes. The championship battle in the constructors is spicing up, and it's 14 points, I believe, in favour of Red Bull going into this race. And Mercedes need a few more positions to try and overtake them.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, you couldn't write it. And there is a move up the order. That's Phil Bardwell getting ahead of Casper for P3. So a good move from him there, particularly at that part of the lap. But yeah, like you were saying, Jack, critical for Mercedes to get ahead of those Red Bulls. Here is Casper, though. He's coming back at Phil Bardwell down the start-finish straight. Will he go to the inside, get late on the brakes on the McLaren? Yes, he does. Great move there from Casper. Clinical as you like. And he then up into third place, but will come back under pressure from Phil here.
And here comes Phil, the DRS opened on the back, and he needs to be watching out for the other Ferrari. Luca's having a stellar drive here at Interlagos, and Phil back round the outside should get the move done. He does, and then Luca is right on the back of these guys, and he's having a fantastic drive as Roy's closing the gap in the man in first, and Luca doing a fantastic job. Just needs to keep going and get some fantastic points for Ferrari here, who are in the battle for that midfield places in the constructors. Aiden hanging on well to M6. Matt Tibbles doing a good job in 8th. The Red Bulls have swapped places. That was a tactical move. Lewis moved out of the way in the start-finish straight. Probably the wise decision in terms of their championship hopes. And then Lewis now just needs to kind of battle Dom and make sure Dom doesn't make any positions up, or if he does, Lewis follows him through.
Well, they're all still fairly close. That top 11, you'd have to say, are all in DRS of each other. And look at this, getting super close towards the front. There is that's Court actually going to the outside of Matt Tibbles and gets super late on the brakes and gets on the grass, and he's going straight on. He is straight on there and having to cut across the track. He's going to drop right down the order. Might just drop behind his teammate. Yes, he does. So a mistake there from Court and down into 11th place.
And Luca is overtaking his teammate Casper into turn number 4. The Ferrari second driver, you would say, is ahead of the lead driver, the man in the battle for P4. Luca is having a fantastic drive in that Ferrari cockpit in the Scuderia. It is his final race in the Scuderia for the time being. We're not sure what's going to happen in terms of season 44 in general, but if it is his outgoing in the Scuderia, he's doing a fantastic job there. And I don't think Casper was expecting that too much. But yeah, Court just got caught out by Matt Tibbles' line. I think they're in braking zone, and if it cost them to drop down, and I think the Mercedes drivers, they're going to have to swap places. You'd imagine Court would be the one that would find it easier to slice through the field and catch up to Lewis and get past him. But how long can the Mercedes leave it in this order?
Yeah, the question is will Shea actually get stopped? Matt Tibbles, so there is a change for the lead. There's Giovanni going to the outside, and it's an easy pass with a DRS way before the first corner, gets the job done. But Enzio Cam, he will come back at him here. He will have the DRS down the Skidoo de Lago straight here, and there's more movement behind. There's Shea, actually. There's something happened to him. He's down into 11th, so he's had a moment. Make that 12th now. So Shea really in the wars. Machine Island, he's now down into 14th.
Machine Island and Matt Tibbles have made contact in the Senna S's, and that has promoted Lewis into the only Red Bull driver in the points. This is getting spicy. I know Dom Smith did say that he's happy with a top 10 finish in the Constructors' Championship, but as the Mercedes close in on maybe picking up the title, he might be changing his mind if they win it. Maybe Dom just settling for, well, I don't have any expectation, and there is a yellow flag. I think that is for Chris Johnson or Speed Kai. I think it's Speed Kai, and Cam not closing the gap to Jovial Mani as quick as Jovial Mani was closing it to him. 6 tenths as we get going. He does have a lot more battery to use as his deployment when he sees fit, but Phil and Mr. Giapelli and Casper in the pits now. Is Casper though? We'll watch on board.
Yeah, that's early. That is early. Well, I guess he's maybe just actually avoiding all of the battling that is going on. But look at this then. The top 4, there is nothing in it. Chiapelli, what a job he is doing here. I mean, he is absolutely sticking with these lot on pure pace here. And, wow, what a brilliant drive so far. And long may it continue.
If he can hang on to the DRS, he's already dropped Aiden's DRS. He's got a wonderful opportunity of a podium here. And Casper on the hards now. He's going to do the undercut. He's in clean air, so you'd imagine Casper, barring any crazy incidents, he should come out ahead of everyone in the top 4. It's now just a question of will his tyres go the distance, and they should do. Whether or not it will have the tyre life that he'll want is another question. Aiden, though, struggling at the time being over the last few laps because Lewis is right on the back of him now, and Aiden's gone deep, and it looks like Lewis has sailed past. Whether or not Aiden's been nice and letting him go through in terms of the constructors, I don't know. They've seemed to form a bit of a friendship over the last few weeks in races, but Lewis now ahead of Aiden, but Aiden has been struggling, I've noticed, on those soft tyres. It might be Court Gill's turn next to make a move. Aiden was one in Monaco to try and hold up the guys in the third place, and Aiden back down the inside of Lewis, so that must have been an accident from Aiden going deep, and Lewis has done a wonderful job to do the switch back on him, and he is ahead again. They're going to be 3 wide into turn number 4 coming down the straight. This is going to be very entertaining. Court has managed to overtake both of them now. Can Lewis stay ahead of Aiden? He really needs to if he can. No, he's gone deep and Aiden's back through. Lewis Craig, not what he needed in terms of his race. Court now in 5th, Lewis 7th, and Dom just watching in 8th.
Yeah, I tell you, that's a big moment right there for this constructors' battle. Just how easy Court got past, and also now Lewis Craig is going to come under serious pressure from Dom Smith. What an intriguing situation this is. They still have Machine Island actually only 4.5 seconds behind, so he is catching them, but he is still quite a way off at this time being. So Dom Smith, he needs to get past those 2 cars ahead for Mercedes Constructors Challenge here, because this is the opportunity for them.
Indeed, here comes Lewis Craig though on Aiden Griffiths. He's ahead, but now for the lead of the Grand Prix, here comes Cam and Phil. Phil now should take the lead. He's going to be so late on the brakes, and Phil does lead into turn number 1 through the Senna S's, and Luca might be in prime position here to make a move for the podium. We're watching all 4 drivers. The Aston could make a move for the lead of the Grand Prix, but here comes Luca. Is he going to have enough speed? Not quite, not using the battery, just biding his time. Luca on pure pace is doing a wonderful job here at Interlagos, and the Ferrari has a fantastic opportunity of picking up a podium as these guys are catching Kai. Aiden Griffin's in the pits as well, I've noticed.
Yeah, another early stopper there. He was on those soft tyres, but great driving here from Phil Bardwell as well. Just seems to now and again just come out of nowhere and just really light up with his pace. But we're already absolutely motoring through this race, not far off the halfway point, and they're very much in the mix here. Chiapelli and Phil Bardwell, they are very much in the mix for the win here.
I tell you who's in the mix. The Ferraris are in the mix for a win and a podium here. They are doing a fantastic job. That strategy call might just work wonders. I think the hards are going to be okay as well. So New Zealand Cup is in the pits now. Jovial Mani stays out, and here comes Luca. He's closing the gap with the DRS train that seems to have formed, not allowing him to make the move. The Mercedes and the 2 Red Bulls are staying out, except Machine Island. Machine Island's in the pits, and what's happened there?
He's just had a big moment. Chiapelli there, getting way too much on the curb. I've done that myself in TGP2, where you just take too much curb and you almost spin the car off. Giovanni gets very close to Phil. Doesn't go for the move, though. But I think he's going to get away with it, Chiapelli. That almost could have been game over with that little spin there.
Well, he's not lost too much time. He seems to be okay. He's back in the groove, and he's only 3 tenths behind, so he's doing a good job to recover. And I'd noticed Machine Allen picked up a 10-second time penalty in his pit stop, so that is going to be massive come the end of the race, possibly. I was figuring it out. If we went off the results before the pit stops and minus their positions by 1 for Casper, it's going to be 5 points in favour of Red Bull. But that 10-second time penalty would basically null and void that, because you can't go off. You don't know what the gaps are going to be. So it is advantage Mercedes at the moment, you'd imagine, and Luca is going to be trying to make it advantage Ferrari. Ferrari seem to be on for a fantastic result here. They've got the package working wonders at Brazil, and it's not quite a package that can put them into second place just at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, because obviously Casper is in a right old tussle with Enzio Cam down the order, and at the minute I think they're actually going to go wheel to wheel here for P9, and this is going to have big influence on the net result once these lot have made their pit stops. And there goes Enzio Cam, easy as you like, up into 9th place, but Casper on the hard tyres, he just needs to stay with the Aston here, because those soft tyres, they will start to suffer later on this race.
That's a very early stop to go into the soft tyres, and I imagine Cam would have went onto the hards, so I've missed that one out myself. But yeah, that is a very, very risky call. The softs do go around Brazil for a long time, but it's very, very tricky come those final few laps. And Court Gill is now in the DRS of the top 3. Maybe Court on for a podium here if he's got the pace. But yeah, Casper just needs to stick in the DRS, and I think we're going to see the top 3 come in and one of the Mercedes.
Yeah, Court's really brought himself into the mix here, and so Phil stays out, so too does Chiapelli, so it's Giovanni that dives into the pit lane. Court stays out, Lewis Craig and Dom Smith are both in as well, so it's the top 2 then that are going to be very close here. Chiapelli will have DRS down this next straight. Will he go for it? Will he go for it and try and take the lead of this race? He's going to have the DRS, and he is gaining and gaining on the McLaren, but he's not going to be close enough to make that move. He had to think about it, as Enzio Cam says the fast lap of this race, and is absolutely flying at the minute. He's almost brought that DRS to Casper.
He's doing a fantastic job, is Enzio Cam. Machine Allen just said the fast lap of the Grand Prix, but he's now out of sync in the race. These top 3 are going to fall behind Casper and Cam and Roy. Lewis Craig has fallen behind Aiden, who stopped the lap earlier than him. Dom has dropped behind Chris as well, but I think Chris is still to stop. But I think Mercedes have made the right call pitting Dom there, because Court does have some good pace, and he's right up on the back now on this battle. And you'd imagine the top 3, they're going to come into the pits here, and you imagine Dan Morris as well.
Yeah, this is the thing. Them just staying out that bit longer, and Phil and Court still continue on. Chiapelli then into the pits this time around. That tells me, Jack, that they're not confident that the softs can go too much longer than what we have remaining in this race. I mean, it's interesting how they are continuing this on here, because we don't have a safety car as well here, I don't believe, so it's an interesting strategy. And the question is, will Enzio Cam's tyres last him?
I think they should, in all honesty. The softs are okay. I think they're 12 laps. You can go without puncturing them, whether or not they've got the pace. And Luca, that late stop has pushed him just ahead of Lewis. Is he going to be just ahead? Phil and Court are definitely going to have to stop this next lap, because Lewis was miles behind Luca before the stops. They're definitely going to have to stop this lap, and they might be in danger here of losing out to Aiden and Lewis, Phil and Court.
I'm not sure why they are continuing on so long into this race before going on to those soft tyres. I mean, surely they've got to pit this lap, because they've got to know that they're going to lose out so much here. Yeah, there we go. Both in the pit lane then. Absolute no-brainer. And it's going to be all eyes on where they are going to come out here. We're expecting Enzio Cam to well and truly take the lead here, with Giovanni hot on his tail. But these two, I think they might, particularly Court, could put himself back into bother here.
As Giovanni sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, Lewis Craig has put himself ahead of Aiden. He's now right on the back of Mr. Giapelli. I can see a Mercedes and a McLaren, and Lewis has jumped both of them. Aiden Griffiths has jumped both of them, and Dom Smith has not quite jumped both of them. Oh, Aiden's not jumped him either. Lewis has jumped both Phil and Court, and Aiden and Court are battling away, and Aiden's doing everything he can to hang on to the position, but he can't quite. The Dutchman does manage to get back up to 7. That was very crucial for Court's race there to get past Aiden. He now needs to get past Phil as quick as he can, because Lewis is looking to make a move on his TGP2 rival Luca Giapelli quickly as possible. Lewis Craig could be on for a podium here if Casper or Cam start to struggle. He's not too far off the podium place here, as Casper's now out of DRS.
Yeah, that really baffles me with Court there, because he's lost so much. He had done great work to move up the order, but just by staying out that extra lap, him and Phil have lost so much here. But this is going to be an almighty scrap then to the checkered flag, and Chiapelli here is going to be the one to come under pressure because he's not got a lot of ERS, and Lewis Craig will surely sense the opportunity here to get up into 4th place.
Well, Lewis needs to make the move now. As Phil very late on the brakes was the McLaren. That was a very Lewis Hamilton and Norris-esque move, and that is wonderful from Phil. We have seen some fantastic battles from Lewis and Phil over the seasons that Lewis has raced, and Phil doing it again. And here comes Court now, going to go down the inside of Lewis Craig if he can. It looks like he has done. Same move that he did to Aiden a few laps ago, and Lewis loses 2 places in once, and that is the experience of racing in this division for a long time from Phil and Court. Lewis and Phil have had some fantastic battles since Lewis' rookie season in season 41, and Phil always seems to come out on top. The wise man showing the Padawan how it's done, and the master seems to be winning just like old times. Now, can Court get past and back into this battle?
I mean, that will be the move of the race, hands down. You will not see a better overtake than that. Absolutely swoop around the outside, and I mean, absolutely brilliant from Phil there. But look at this for the lead. We've got Giovanni now right on the tail of Enzo Cam.
Here he goes for the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. He's not won a race all season, has Roy. He's second in the standings. He wants to win a race in the final moments of season 43, and he's in the lead with 4 laps to go.
Casper's right off. He's right off, and he's down into 5th. I don't know if that was the lap car just putting him off there into that first corner, but he got completely out of shape. And here is Court then going for 5th place. Critical points here up for grabs, and he's done it. He is up into 5th. So Court then getting another position, and with Dom Smith now right on the tail of Lewis Craig, this is going back in Mercedes' favour here.
It is indeed. It is swinging towards the Mercedes favour. I've got the calculations out, and I believe it is Mercedes that are champions for the time being, unless Machine Ireland can break away the gap that he's got to Dan Morris. At the moment, he's going to be behind Dan Morris. He's going to finish in 12th, and I don't think that'll be enough if Court and Dom are 5th and 8th. I think this is going to be Lewis Craig needs to get a move and get past Casper or get past somebody, because Luca is on the podium at the moment. And here comes Cam now for the lead of the Grand Prix once again as we begin lap 16 and 3 laps to go. Luca has lost the podium to Phil, and here comes Cam down the inside. He goes, locks up the left front, but gets the car stopped, and Phil gets the car stopped. He's made 4 overtakes into turn 1. That's Phil's domain, turn number 1. Luca on the podium for a moment there briefly, and can he get back on it? And then the lead is changing again, because here comes Giovanni back into turn 4, back ahead. Cam going to have to make that move later on in the lap.
This is going to be quite some finishes, because the top 9, they are all within a second of each other. We're 16 laps into the race, for crying out loud, and they are all absolutely nothing in it here. So all of them have an opportunity to gain at least something in these closing stages. Giovanni then moving into the lead, but how is he going to play this one? We've seen him before play very smartly with the tactics, but Enzo Cam, it's deja vu, just like in Spa. He is in that second place, but this time, can he pull off the victory here? It's going to come right down to the wire.
Well, I'll tell you what, Phil is looking very racy at turn 1, and he's had a wonderful drive off the final couple corners up the hill, and Cam might be taking the lead for the moment, but here comes Phil Barville. The Englishman is going to take the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix on the penultimate lap, and Luca's going to try and get the podium of Roy, and he's done it. He sneaked down the inside of the Irishman. He started first on that lap. He's now 4th place, and Luca might have just nicked the podium, and well, it wouldn't be TGP1 to end after 43 seasons seasons on 14 different games if we weren't going out with a bang. And on the penultimate lap, it's been fantastic. Can Luca hang on to the podium? He's in danger from the V-car behind him at the moment, but he's hanging on for the moment. And it looks like Mercedes are going to be your Constructors' champions. Bavessa retirement there might have actually just swung it back in favour of Red Bull. I think that might actually be very crucial in terms of the Constructors. Bavessa's retirement, that puts Chris into the points and Wet Lemons in the points. I think Red Bull are going to hang on because of that penalty and that retirement. But it's all about the win. Phil Bardwell, he's picked up a few wins over the last few seasons, a bit surprisingly, people might add. But he's been so great. The man that has the streak of podiums for the most podiums in a consecutive seasons might just be picking up another win. We start the final lap of TGP1, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes Roy down the inside of Luca, dashing Luca's hopes of a podium this season. Can Luca get the move? They're still side by side. Luca's going to give this everything. He's done it. He's hanging on. Here comes Court, though. He's trying to win the Constructors for his Constructor team, Mercedes, in the final race. They're free wide going into turn number 4. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It looks like it was Court and Luca. Is he off? No, he's not off. But he's down into 4th place in the lead of the race. They're very close, 70 by less than a tenth. Casper's back involved now. He's up into 6th place. He's still so close, and he might be going down the inside of Roy, and it looks like he's going to try to. He's going to try, turn it round the outside. It will turn to the inside if he has the grip, and he's still there. He's hanging on to those hards that he stopped so early for, and it's a Ferrari 4th and 5th for the time being. Roy can't defend it. Can Luca on the run up to the line pick up the podium? It doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Phil's gone deep, and this might be a run to the line now. It's going to be a drag race because Phil has a moment, and Cam might be picking up the win here if he can get close enough. He's got no battery left, though. It's going to be Phil that wins the final race of TGP1. And Cam hangs on to 2nd as Court comes home in 3rd. Luca's in 4th. Casper's in 5th place. Roy has to settle for 6th. Lewis Craig in 7th. Aidan Griffins in 8th. Dom Smith 9th. Dan Morris came 10th. Arthur came 11th. Wet Lemons in 12th. Machine Ireland 13th place. Chris Johnson will pick up the final point. Darky 15th. Matt Tibbles 16th. And then Kai was a lap down, so he's going to be 18th place. And well, before the podium celebrations get underway, 14 points in the favour of Mercedes. We will try and then figure out who is now in the lead. So I do believe I will let you have a few words on that final lap, final few laps, as I took most of that final lap up with the commentary, but I'll let your thoughts get out.
Well, Phil Bardwell, what a win. I mean, you have to say, he made the overtake of the race, and was deserving of that victory after that move that he made. So brilliant from him, just to hang on, really. I think Enzio Cam just used up a bit too much ERS at the end, and Court almost picked off the Aston Martin. It's going to be fascinating to know if Mercedes have done enough, because maybe Court might have still needed that 2nd place. We'll find out very shortly, but it's gonna, if he needed that 2nd place, he'll be absolutely gutted, because he missed out by 43 thousandths of a second. A great performance from the 2 Ferraris as well. Actually, a shout out to them. Chiapelli ahead of Casper. What a drive from him. But have you got any news? Jack?
Red Bull are your Constructors' champions. Wow. If my calculations are correct, I think the fastest lap, not going in favour of Machine Ireland, and if Court came 2nd, it would have went to some form of count back. It would have been equal points. But the podium celebration's underway. I think Machine Ireland did hang on to the podium. The fast. No, he didn't. So if Court finished 2nd, we would have went to some form of count back. I don't know how the Constructors work. Would it have been race wins? I think Red Bull would have still claimed it if it was that. I'm not sure how count back goes for that. But Red Bull, as far as I'm aware, Dom Smith will let us know for sure. Red Red Bull have done it. Lewis Craig has picked up 2 Constructors' Championships in a row. He's kind of been the Checo of the last 2 seasons. His teammates have won the Drivers' Championships, which has kind of helped them out. But your final TGB1 order, Phil Marshall wins the race. What an iconic moment that is. Cam and Court round at the podium. Luca picks up 4th. Congrats, Luca. 5th place for Casper. 6th place for Joe Viamani. 7th and 8th for Lewis and Aidan. Dom Smith and 9th with Dan Morris with a top 10 finish. Arthur and Wet Lemons 11th and 12th. Machine Ireland and Chris Johnson 13th and 14th. Darky wasn't able to pick up points in his season. Matt Tibble 16th. Professor in 17th and Speed Kai 18th with Jean rounding up the grid. The only man that didn't finish the race. Sorry, Professor didn't finish the race either. Kai did have a dinner, but that is another season. 43 seasons complete, CJ. We've had over 20 different TGB1 champions. We've had over 100 different people have a podium, and I believe we've had over 105 race winners. It's been fantastic. We've had 14 games of TGB1, and we're not sure if this is going to be it, but it's just the 2 seasons that we've done in commentary have just been fantastic. It's never, ever dull in TGB1, and I just want to hear your thoughts on the last 2 seasons that we've had in the comp box.
Well, it's safe to say we've been absolutely spoiled, that is for sure. There's hardly ever been a dull moment or even a race over the last couple of seasons. It has been action-packed throughout, and a pleasure doing the commentary with you, Jack. It's been a bit of a strain on our voices sometimes. I think the races have been that kind of dramatic, but we won't have it any other way. And what a great way to end the season with that brilliant race there in Brazil.
Fantastic indeed, and it is confirmed Red Bull are your Constructors' Champions. 424 points to the Mercedes 421. Well, Lewis Craig will be getting let off the hook by Christian Horner tonight. That his late pace in that Brazilian Grand Prix was able to get him through the door and pick up a Constructors' Championship for Red Bull. But that has been it. Another fantastic season. And the marksman Dom Smith has presided 43 fantastic seasons, 14 games. Like I said, we've had over 20 champions in the top division. We've had over 100 people on the podium, and I believe it's 105 plus winners as well. And just like Sleeping Beauty, it is probably time for us to let our beautiful young lady TGB1 have a sleep. But we do have Dom in the party, and we just want to say thank you to Dom for everything he's done. And Dom, unfortunately for Dom, has probably made some friends along the way that he's going to have for life, especially myself, and that's probably unfortunate for Dom. But we'll just pass it to Dom, and if Dom wants to say anything before we head off and do the last PS4 chat of the season. Dom, congratulations on the season. I think it was 5th place for you, breaching 150 points. Fantastic for you since you've managed to change onto the wheel.
Yeah, thank you. Probably my greatest ever season, I think. I might have just been pipped to 5th by Phil. Hopefully I've held on, but I have the feeling he might have just got me. But yeah, it's been a good season. I've enjoyed it. Thank you to the both of you for commentating throughout it. It's been a memorable one. And yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next, but either way, we've got to 43 seasons, so that's pretty cool.
43 seasons indeed, and it's been action-packed throughout, and Dom Smith has provided us with all that action, ladies and gentlemen. I have been Jack Craig, CJH has been CJH, and we will see you on PS4 again one day, whether or not it's going to be on F1, but we've got plenty of TGP action to come up. Make sure you check the website for the WR season coming your way shortly. But I've been Jack Craig, he's been CJH, and he was Dom Smith briefly. There, we'll see you on PS4.